Hi, I'm Sid Dobrin. This video addresses the visual analysis project that asks students to write a narrative about the photograph of the young Navajo girl. Students might assume that this assignment is designed to let them take creative liberty and simply write a fun narrative about the photograph. However, I designed this assignment to help students think about how readers imbue images like photographs with narratives in order to elicit meaning. Thus, when I talk with students about this assignment, I stress that they should be able to explain how they derive their narratives from what is either inside or outside the frame of the photograph. I also stress that the photograph is of a real person in a real situation, and that the assignment does not ask students to invent fantastic fabrications. That is, I urge students to be respectful of the situation and the girl depicted in this picture by avoiding unrealistic or silly narratives. The assignment, I emphasize, is as much about interpreting the photograph as it is about writing the narrative. Talk with your students about the varieties of approaches they might take in analyzing this image to the end of crafting their narratives. For example, how might the point of view of the image influence the point of view in the narrative? Should the narrative be written from the photographer's perspective or the little girl's? What role does chronology play in the picture? Does the photographer pay the $2 before or after taking the picture? What might the picture convey about larger social situations which makes photographing a Native American girl a moment of interest? What role does the assumed location of the photograph play in how we read the image? Likewise, how might visual rhetorical questions about things like body, language, costuming, color, framing, and the likes help students think about their narratives? As to assessing the narrative, you should be able to use the assessment rubric I've included as a way of talking with students about how you will assess their writing for this assignment. When I use this assignment, I emphasize the importance of the thesis portion of the rubric, so as to convey that students need to establish a specific claim with their narratives. I also stress the critical thinking, reading, and viewing portion of the rubric, given that students need to exhibit more than superficial readings of the image in order to develop a narrative relevant to the situation. Of course, the rhetorical knowledge, process, and knowledge of conventions parts of the rubric are important for this assignment. And I like to talk with students about how these are a way of being alert to how they write their narratives for a particular situation. So that's a little bit about how I use this assignment. I'm sure you'll find many other aspects of the assignment that are valuable to your students as well. Thanks for using writing situations, and thanks for watching.